I'm going to describe the exact moves I made to go from being a senior engineer to being the CTO of a successful technology company. I remember when I was a senior engineer making low six figures, feeling stuck and watching others pass me by as they got promoted. As CTO, I oversee the development of exciting new technology, and I was able to land this position without the Ivy League degrees, without rich parents, and without knowing some guy. Here are the 5 moves I made in the exact order I did them so that you can copy them and adapt them to your career. I started out in engineering after my bachelor's degree. I went to Long Beach State here in California, and I remember that first job that I got, and I remember the excitement of being an engineer and actually, the dream of becoming an engineer being fulfilled. And I remember those first tasks that I was given and being, worried, am I going to be able to actually succeed as an engineer? I remember those days and the excitement. And I remember finding that first mentor. And then I remember continuing to grow in my career. And I met a person named John, who was my next mentor. And John taught me the first principle the first big move. And John taught me that I needed to become the expert in something that was critical to the business, not just the department that I was in, but critical to the business of the company that I was working in, division level kind of significance. And it turned out that I was working with John on a project where that was just the case. We were working on a very high profile technology called tile array technology. It's a technology that's used in phased array radars. And if we were successful, then that technology was going to become the standard technology for a series of products that the company was going to begin launching in several years. We worked really hard, and we were able to achieve our goals. As a result, I received the Engineer of the Year award, which is called the Engineering Excellence Award. I received a promotion. I received some pretty nice pay raises and bonuses as a result of that. And I really felt successful, right? I felt like I had really taken the next step in my career. And then things started to slow down, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And that's when I met my next mentor, and I was able to take that next big move. My next mentor was Mark, and it turned out that Mark had some special personality skills. He's a very talented guy. Not only is he brilliant, he's also very good with people. And I just learned a ton from Mark about communicating and talking with people. And what we did is we started publishing our research. We started publishing the work that we were doing at conferences and writing some technical journals and other things. And that's what Mark taught me. He taught me that I needed to expand the visibility of the work I was doing beyond just the company I was working for, to build a reputation that went beyond the 4 walls of the business that we were working for. And that was great advice from Mark. He did that himself, and it really helped his career, and it moved me into this next level of my career. So that's the second big move, is I was able to build a reputation outside of the company I was working for. And I got pretty involved in these conferences, and I began to actually help organize these conferences. I built a network of people, which is the third big move. These connections outside of the company I was working for helped me go to a small startup company where I was now a big fish in a smaller pond. I got a very nice pay raise, a very nice promotion, and I was able to then influence things that were happening inside of that company. And I just learned a ton about what it was like to start a company from scratch. I didn't help this company from scratch, but I came in pretty early in this startup, and I helped build the team and helped build a product line that ended up being the largest selling product line in that startup company for several quarters. We were very, very successful as a team. We launched really industry-leading products inside of that company, and that helped establish my capabilities in startups, in communicating with executive leadership in these companies. I was able to talk to the CEO, to the executive leadership of the company, and it expanded my vision for what could be my future. My fourth big move was actually taking that job at that startup company. For me, it was being willing to take a leap from the comfort of a big corporation into a small startup where I could learn the details of how a corporation operates that I didn't get at that larger company. I was able to see everything from the very basic levels of things like how purchase orders were generated all the way up to the top line of how our actions and our products were affecting the income and the revenues of the company. That step was a major deal for me. It was kind of scary. I wasn't sure if I was going to be successful doing that, but it had a major positive impact on the rest of my career. And it may look differently for you. For you, it may be this is a step from a small company into a large company, so you could see what large companies are like. But for you, it may be something like moving from maybe a sales position into a marketing position, or from an engineering design into an engineering management position. It's going to be that step that takes you to the next level in your progression to executive level and CTO kinds of positions and companies. And for me, it was actually an extremely pleasurable experience. I really had a blast at that company, and it ended up going public, and it was a really kind of a fun experience. My fifth big move was recognizing that it was time for me to have that conversation about moving into executive level positions. And I knew that wasn't going to happen at that startup because the startup was beginning to have a market decline. The overall market was, experiencing less need for the products that company was selling. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to move up there. So then I took a position at another startup where I was given an executive position, a junior executive position, and then I parlayed that into another job after about 2 years into a full-fledged executive position where I was a VP of engineering, and then I moved on from there to start my own company, ran that for a while, and then moved into a full-fledged CTO position. So the moral of the story for the fifth step is you've got to recognize when you're ready. You have to have that conversation with the officers of the company, the executive leadership, and express that you're ready to move up, that you want to take on more responsibility, you want to have more direct impact upon the future of the company. And if you can't have that conversation in the place that you are now, the job you have now, you may have to go to another company to have those conversations. But the point will come where you know the time is right, and where you have to have those difficult discussions, and you have to be willing to move on if your expectations are not met there. If you're a staff engineer or a principal engineer or other mid-level engineer, and you're looking to make that move to an executive position, maybe even an officer position such as CTO, or maybe operations. Some engineers move into operations because engineers turn out to make pretty good operations people because they understand things at a deeper level. And some engineers will also go into marketing. A good friend of mine, a PhD in electrical engineering, his specialty was in marketing at one of the companies. He was a marketing guy. So if you want to move into those senior level positions, then take a look in the description. I have a link there where you can download a guide that I have that will help you move your career along. That's my story of how I went from a senior engineer to a CTO and the 5 massive actions I took. And I hope it encourages you to take massive action also in your career so that you can achieve the goals that you have.